Is there a motion that we adopt the agenda? That's, that there's a motion and second. All in favor will say aye. Excuse me. Yes, there is a request at the speed bump, and I believe Mike has been working on that a little bit about the speed bump issue coming up. And I believe we've got some Daenerys here.
Good evening.
Yeah. They are near to all our hearts. And so, is there unanimous consent that we do add the, we have some people here for that, is it unanimous consent that the request, and is it, well, we'll just declare that done. Now, is there a motion to approve the minutes that have been distributed? Motion, second. All in favor will say aye. Main Street report.
I don't have anything.
Okay. And we had, of course, the Blues Festival was done, and I think, yeah, we can approve the Main Street report. We'll just hold that in abeyance. Monthly bills. Is there a motion that the monthly bills be approved? Second? Okay, motion made and second. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that's done. Planning Commission report.
I didn't have anything from them
All
when
right.
they were here.
Well, any Planning Commission report? There being none, we'll move along. Historic Preservation Committee.
They did have a,
Well, let's go to the historic. Yes, we've got that. The Historic Preservation Committee. So, and y'all have, is anyone here from that group? All right, well, the report will speak for itself. And we have the projects that were presented were
maybe a recap on that front sheet.
yeah. The only agenda from the new business following approval agenda was reconsideration of a certified certificate of appropriateness for a mural filed by Rebecca Finley on January 16, 2020 on behalf of This Is Noteworthy on the front facade of 16 South Main. The COA application had been deferred for further info at the January 20th, 25 meeting. Guidelines for student of murals on the front of buildings stated that, all right, there was a motion that, and it was done that, let's just do this, the short version. Two certificates of appropriateness were filed. The CO application on behalf of Heather, on behalf of True Blue Boutique and Decor, did not contain the building owner's signature, so the commission deemed the application to be sufficient for processing and determination. However, since two COA applications were on the same project, the project was approved. This is so she can get a zoning, so people can see her, know she's there. And so that's one thing. Is there a motion that stand approved, the report stand approved? All right, all in favor, second?
Aye.
All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
All right, that's done. All right, let's move along. We're going to go to the local emergency plan continuation.
So we need to declare that there is a continuing local emergency
For electric.
for the electric infrastructure. as we did last month.
And this, by Mississippi code, you have to do that, in 30-day increments at least. There's a motion, is there a second? There's motion and second, all in favor will say aye. All opposed, and the findings that, the lives and safety of the people are jeopardized, and progress is being made. I will say this, Crystal, there have been a lot of interplay among the parties, and they're getting ready to rock and roll on replacements and broadband and everything else. So, all right, now we have Ms. Keisha Moore with us in regard to festival, and you're recognized. Ms. Moore.
We are another year with the Umsawati Valley for September 27th, starting at 10 o'clock to 8. And we are asking that the officer do try to come down there at 6:30 it started at 6:30 for 6:30 to 9 for everybody to come in and set up. There will not be any set up after 9. And if we don't mind, we would like for the police officers to do come and patrol. And we also want them, if they can, be out there when we get ready to start it, setting up at 6:30 so they can help to guide everybody in there. From 6:30 to 9.
6:30 p.m.
6:30 a.m.
To 9, when they're going to be setting up.
Okay.
It's gonna be
The Umsawati Valley event will start at 10 o'clock,
10 o'clock and conclude at
8
8
o'clock.
o'clock? Okay.
Where is this gonna be held at?
Huh?
Where is this gonna be held?
On Main Street.
Main Street, starting from where to where?
They're going to start from the Sergeant Store all the way down to Sweet Mama's.
And this is on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've received some complaints on the Saturday events that could possibly or has hurt our local merchants. Is there any other route that you can take other than Main Street and accomplish what you want to accomplish?
No, because that's what maybe next year we probably can do it or whatever, but we were wondering what to have it. So what are you saying is a complaint for all the festivals?
I have several complaints coming down Main Street that this one is an event that's not contributing to their business sales for that day, so they're actually losing money.
So why is just this event?
No,
No.
it's been expressed to me, to not paraphrase, but the concerns to me was that all the events, they were asking that we talk as a public board about restraining those more to the railroad park area. That way that the traffic can get down to the stores, but not this event. It was talked about before the Blues Fest also.
Yeah, it's all the events. It's not picking on your event. No, ma'am, it's not. Yeah. I just want to make that very clear. It's not picking on one. It's and it's part of our job to protect the merchants as much as we can, if there is an alternative. Now we want you to have your events. Don't get me wrong, but we also at the same time want to protect our merchants and their sales for Saturdays, because a Saturday is a big day for them. That's their biggest day.
Now, Railroad Park, it would be, is that, you thinking of
Yeah,
Railroad Park availability?
Yeah, something like that.
And
you
that
said-
would include the bandstand and all that?
but,
Right there on
Yep.
Main Street, right there in the middle of Main Street.
you said this was September the 27th?
Yes.
You'll have a lot of trouble up there as far as keeping the power going, though.
Not really, just when it, when that thing, when the song was, what was it, Nicole? Huh? It was something that was
That's
plugged
the
up.
power, I said the
Uh-huh.
bandstand, on the one side of the bandstand
Yeah.
where we set up,
Mhm.
on that side, power always goes out.
Yeah,
Well, it's going to, because it wasn't designed
Right,
to accommodate, you know,
Well, I hope that we can
that's why
get,
we set up generators.
eventually get some, we're working on getting good power all over town.
and then y'all had a generator this time.
We had generators.
I advise if you're gonna run your bounce houses, I'd run them off the generator.
That's what we do. I'm just saying, on that one side,
One side.
power always goes out.
Ms. Moore,
Well,
can you give us some thought and come back to us with this?
I really don't have any thoughts. Because the way I'm seeing this, okay, if you got 12 to 14 food vendors, you say you wanna put it on the, which cause then you got maybe 25, 30 crafts. So is all that gonna fit just right there on that little railroad?
No, I mean, like, I think you can still use, like, I think what he's saying is you can still use the bandstand side of Main Street down there at the park. Is that kind of what you think?
Yeah.
You talking about the end of Main Street, Sarton,
Like from,
coming on
instead
down
of,
to like
instead of from
FNB
Church,
Bank?
Yeah,
That area right there, that's
Yeah.
what you're speaking of?
yeah.
like Wagner Street to Panola maybe, and still use that side. I don't think anybody's open from the bank south.
Yeah, but it's north.
Yeah,
From-
but from, are you? I'm sorry. But you're south, you're where? You're down at the depot, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But they're not blocking that part of the street off anyway.
Main South, and so,
They're not blocking that part of Main Street off.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me
Right.
either way. I'm good with it. I like having people go by.
Exactly.
So, but
well, let's do something and come to some resolution on this, and that we need to, what,
Because all the emails, everything have been set out for that day for down there, so, I mean, I don't know what they,
sorry.
all right, well, what are the particular businesses that would have a problem on,
Is there any kind of run associated with this?
no, not like that.
What's your end time, like we're done time?
It's gonna be from 8. I gotta ask it 8
I
o'clock.
understand, but what's your done time, because an event that ends at 8 is not over at 8.
That's right.
This one is, it was over at 8 last year.
Clean up.
Oh, okay, well, we was cleaning up, well, I say
My
about,
question is, what time
Street
is
back
it?
open.
What time are we?
okay.
I understand entertainment's at 8, what time do you propose everything to be back to Friday conditions? Like done, cleaned up, everybody gone home, and done.
We got through, what time it was last, Nicole? What time when we got through?
I don't remember,
It
by
was
the time
about,
we were leaving, it was
yeah, at
like
9.
close to 9.
9, close to
We were
9,
packing up.
yeah.
yeah, I think it was, I may be, well, I go to all the festivals, and it
Like I
was,
said, I probably need to.
I didn't have any problem. You know, it seemed like it was,
I didn't think nobody had one.
But
now,
we did.
I
Maybe some.
understand that,
The
you know,
last one,
people,
Casey Jones, because they can't get to the
Hey, what,
everybody has
Don't you
differences, and
start.
that's,
what about y'all's
Why we
flag?
Don't play,
There you,
exactly, exactly.
all right, well, let's,
What's the opposition to city park?
So what?
What's the opposition to city park? As it is city park.
Yeah, I don't want to look there. No. City Park not even in yet.
That's what I'm asking, why not? Because I mean, it works great to the watermelon carnival lines.
Watermelon comes, I'm so wild about it. We just want to do it on Main Street. For one, it's more, you have people in wheelchairs, you have people that got strolls and all that. There's more room for them to walk open space. It's so crowded once you get to the park up there. So no, we don't want to do that.
When I closed Railroad Street off, if you got problems with main traffic, people coming down to business, that's when I closed Railroad Street off from right here to Wood Street and you got the whole railroad parked in the street and do everything what you gonna do on the other.
From the intersection of Panola and Main all the way down to, Wood Street intersection. Does that make sense?
On the Main Street side?
Like, the Main Street, but from Panola, intersection, which is where Gunn's set up, all the way down to where Wood Street dead ends. So all the way
You're
down to
talking
Bank
about that
First.
side.
Bank area.
You're talking about that side.
Yeah, that whole
That
strip
whole
of Main
side.
Street.
Both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, both sides.
Both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, Main Street's closed down from Panola all the way down to Wood
Okay, you're,
Street.
you're giving them a street closure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's, I'm confused about, where's Panola Street at?
That's right here by Dunn's at
Oh,
the red
Sweet Mama,
light.
okay, we'll do that way.
Yeah.
So what y'all saying, close that up?
And close up there at FNB Bank,
Where it kinda humps up,
Yeah.
right before it humps up.
right before, yeah, leave turnages open, cause they're open.
Mhm.
You know, leave them some spots if people need to come park out in front of turnages.
So what I'm saying, where would the vendors and, okay, all the vendors, all the crafts, where would they still be parked at? I mean, where would they?
That's probably a quarter mile.
Yeah, both sides of Main Street.
You just won't be all the way up to
On the other.
Sardins.
Okay,
You'll start on this
And,
side of
and
Sardins.
some of them might prefer to set up in the park,
Well, I mean, and they,
on the grass.
people
You
could
could do
go
that
to
too.
pocket park.
Bandstand,
If it's
Uh-huh.
easier, it's,
from the bank, from that.
so it's gonna be
Kids
closed,
on-
last year it wasn't closed right there where the, you know, where Magnolia Furniture was at? And that's what y'all talking about?
that on
well, no,
on
this side, Main
of it,
Street.
on the Main
Okay.
Street
Turnages
side.
to Sweet
Furniture,
Mamas.
uh-huh.
Turnages to Sweet Mamas, that's right.
Yeah.
So don't start if there was Sardin store.
That's right.
Okay, that's what y'all saying, okay.
Yeah.
Leave that open all the way down to,
Right, so turnages are Bank First, 'cause the
Bank First,
bank's
okay.
not open.
How does that do?
okay, so the way I did it last year, we started with the craft up there by,
Sorry.
Sardin. All the crafts was up that way. For where the bank at, First Bank, Bank First, we had all the vendors, food vendors, were there to go all the way down to Sweet Mamas. So I'm trying to see,
Well,
how do y'all wanna,
I will
how
say,
you think you
Blues Fest putting the food vendors back there
we're not gonna do that.
by your office, or across from your office
Like
on
they
that
did
lot.
for the
Yeah,
case
but
of
no,
crab.
Crowds down from there,
Yeah.
seem, and people sitting in the pocket park to eat from the food vendors
But-
right there, and the transition between, for them seemed to work really well.
But I had a lot of complaints came to me about that. Because a lot of them didn't wanna be behind there. So no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna have the food vendors behind there.
But when is it gonna be?
September
The
27th. So if it'd be better for what y'all saying it, you know, I can work with it like that.
Okay,
weather.
all right. Well, is there an understanding about, Daniel, go back over the proposal.
Yes,
So that
we
means,
indicated she can-
that means, so we're gonna have to leave it open more for everybody to get down. We're gonna start at where the bank at and go all the way down, cause craft gotta be there, then all the vendors. That means where it's gonna close off at? Cause how's everybody gonna get,
That open area right past Sweet Mamas.
so everybody gonna fit up in there for, starting from the, if I got 14 food vendors, and you got maybe 25, 30 crafts, so everybody going, you know,
You would think that they're each, and I'm making a guess here, that each trailer is probably no longer than 30 feet. You got 14 of them, so what's 14 times 30? Right, 450 feet.
420.
So a little football field and a half, but that's on one side of the road, if they're just lined up on one side of the road. So essentially, a football field is what you need
Well,
for
if
the
you put,
food
what he's
vendors.
saying is if you put the food vendors on one side and your arts and
And then
crafts
you
on
got
the
your
other side.
They just won't be able to leave 30 feet.
30 vendors on the other end, 30 vendors, what do they got?
this year we want them,
20 by 20?
when I got with the committee this year,
That's another football
as I was
field.
saying, instead of spacing so many people out, we want them kind of closer, more close
Well,
together.
and you're talking, that's what you're talking
That's what
about.
you're talking
Yeah, so I want them closer together,
Well-
the food vendors and stuff.
Well, now
Right
that-
on Main Street.
Yeah, if you get a hamburger here, right here, you can get an ice cream cone.
Well, that's one reason why watermelon
Okay,
works.
that'll work,
That's right.
that'll work.
So,
Packing up your-
Chicken in every
Yeah,
pot.
you could alternate
So,
like that and put
think we can get all the crafts on one side, is this what?
That's what I mean, I think you could. If you got 30, how big is the
Cause
spot?
they won't be spaced
10
out.
Yeah, cause they're not gonna be spaced out like we did, we already discussed that.
10-foot spots or was it 15?
No, it wouldn't, cause it wouldn't that be, it's like, it has been, some had 10,
in.
Like six P's is real big. We got them.
Not the
ma-
food, but like your art.
Oh, the car, well, they don't need that, about the 10
Yeah.
with the
Most of them
crafts.
are 10 by 10.
Yeah, 10 by 10,
Yeah.
10.
All right, well, look, so now you've got the dimensions, basically. Basically, we got the dimensions. This has gotta be concepts, and they have, everybody's gotta work together. And we want everybody to have, the valley is for everybody.
Yes.
And so that, we all agree on that.
And another thing I was asking, we had this problem last year, when you was asking me what I was gonna do about people come security and all that, and I thought the police officer was supposed to do that, walk and help, you know, and you asked me
No, ma'am,
what I,
what I asked you was, you had planned for the kids zone over here in Railroad Park. What I asked was, you gonna have someone to make sure kids didn't filter over in the street and run out the street while they were doing the bouncing
and I
houses
also
and that,
asked you, I
because-
said, do you have officer for the Blues Festival? I said, well, we want the officers there to
Yes,
help
ma'am.
protect
And
that.
as for the Blues Fest, we did not stand or monitor the events and make sure kids didn't run out in the street and stuff
Yeah,
like
but
that.
you
on
had
the open
officers
road.
walking around,
And we
right?
had them at your event too, just as many.
I know, but I'm saying, that's what I want.
Just as many. But I'm saying, what I was telling you is, we don't have the security to monitor events and make sure the kids don't run out from the bounce
That's
house
why
out
I'm
in the
telling the
street.
parents they need to
That's
be there
what I
watching their
was-
children.
Yeah, and work it
Parents'
out.
job.
Yeah, work it
Yeah.
out so that there will be, you
Yes.
know, some
And I tell the parents, you
responsible
cannot leave
members
little kids
that
under
do
10.
that.
That's for the parents to do.
Yeah, we need good folks that, you know, the children have to come first.
Yeah.
And so we do just work to get, good people to do that. And
Yeah.
we'll need some volunteers. We don't, city doesn't pay for volunteers, but volunteers pay the city in a sense of doing their work. And that's how we are able to get things done. So we will need some volunteers, and
Just one question.
To help.
Do you have a deadline for your vendors to
Yes.
sign up?
Mm-hmm.
So could you maybe report back to us?
Okay,
How many
I
you
can.
got, so we be
I
sure you
will.
got enough space?
Because on June the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna, they have to sign this form, let us know whether you're gonna be there or not. You know, let us know.
may need longer time than that because some people, you know,
July the 6th is when they turn in all the money and everything
Okay.
to the bank.
Okay.
That's July 6th.
July 6th, yeah.
Uh-huh.
When the money, if the money comes in, that's
Yes,
serious.
uh-huh.
If the
So-
money doesn't come in, they're not serious.
Exactly.
Just
And-
report back, that way we can be sure that they're
Okay,
still
I
in that
will.
place.
Cause I can give it to Nicole, she on the committee too.
Alright.
So would the police officer be involved again this year? Which, we have to the Duncan booth.
We haven't been asked or know anything about it.
Yeah, Jarvis, I had already spoke with him about it,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
told him that y'all, if y'all want to, y'all can.
Well, I
So that's
imagine
in the
they
parking
wanna
part, I
dunk
mean,
us
in-
politicians is what I imagine on the Dunkin' booth, so that's probably, you get more money that way, you know. We're-
At this point, I can't answer, as of tonight, I can't answer that. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to know before, on the deadline, I
Well,
told
let's,
Jarvis, I could send it to
let's
Jarvis
indeed.
and let y'all know.
Let's work together and make it go. It's a motion that we have along the general terms that Daniel laid out, that this be authorized. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Motion and second.
Can y'all say second when y'all second?
Yeah,
Second.
Now,
Okay, I
motion
will.
second. All in favor will say aye.
okay.
All opposed?
Okay.
All right,
Thank
that
you.
is adopted. So,
I'm not as good as this is.
well, who is? I mean, now look, you know, you're in tall cotton when you're doing that. Now, Michael Walton, you're gonna tell us how hard you've been working. You brought Casey with you, how hard he works, and we know that, that's my road supervisor.
can't bring Casey with me.
No, you good man, you're a good man, and you know, just remember, Michael, no good deed goes unpunished. You know, so, Michael is trying, and Casey and the rest are doing, well, really what they have to, by law, as I take it, you know, if they don't, they'll be subject to a lawsuit, and some lawyer will probably obliged to do that, wouldn't you, man? Yeah, not me, I generally defend local governments on things like that, but, so, we're, privileged to have y'all come, and now I understand that you are have joined, basically you had 81 counties in a certain fashion, and we were in a different fashion, and now you would be standardized with the other, I think. You tell us what's
Well,
going on.
today, now, I think what you're talking about is actually our appraising, our actual appraising. So we have partnered with an outside appraising company to come in to do our appraising. Out of the 81 counties, out of the 81, 82 counties, it was only 3 counties that were left that were still doing in-house appraising. Don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong if you're able to do the in-house appraising. But again, now the state pushes that you do outside appraising, bring an outside appraiser just for various reasons. So we have partnered with an outside appraising company, which is S&S Appraisal, and actually the owner of S&S Appraisal is here with me because we have some things we have to take care of tomorrow. So he's in town with me. So he's gonna come up with me, and this. Yes, this is the owner of S&S Appraisal. I'm gonna let him introduce himself and say the name of his company, and then we're gonna get into what we came to talk to you guys about tonight.
Hello, my name is Ryan Strickland. I own S&S Appraisal, and right now we are in five counties, looking at a 6th. But we contract to come in and make sure that everything is equitable, fair. We do. I feel like we do a better job. We do a job that needs to be done. We do it from an outside way, so that we're not from this county. We don't feel any pressure to be any other way but fair. And so that's what we do. And we appraise each property every 4 years and make sure that every property is in compliance with the Department of Revenue's regulations.
Okay. Today we came to talk to you guys because June will be here before you know it, and we're going to start working on our millage rates. Millage rates for the counties. The current millage rate for the city is 43.5 mills. So 43.5 mills. So today we won't take up too much of your time, but for just to give you a general idea of what we're saying, property values are going up. Property values are going up. I did not say property taxes. I said property values are going up. Our property values in Yellow Bush County are at the bottom of the barrel. That's no one's fault. It's just where they've been. And the state has made a large increase in what the state index is. We'll explain to you what an index is. An index, I put on this first page, an index is a benchmark that tracks the performance of the real estate market, typically by measuring changes in property value. As we all know, our property values have skyrocketed in the last 4 years. 40 years ago when the state started this program, the index, everyone index started at a 1.0. And Jesse, I mean, you don't understand what those numbers mean, but you can look at the numbers and tell the difference. Our index started at a 1.0. 40 years later, Yellow Bush County's index is still at a 1.08. The state, so that's what the index is now. The index is 1.08. The state has moved their index to 1.25. 1.25 is the state index right now. So to be in compliance with the state, you have to be within 10 points of what the state's index is. So that tells you now we got to go to at least a 1.15 on our index. So we're trying to stay at a 1.15. That's what we've been working on for the last 3 months, is doing our 1.15. Again, with the city, we all know I think, especially this board, you guys understand what the millage rate is. So I'm just going to give you some examples of some things that we've been talking about. And remember, an index doesn't go up by points. An index, just say 1 point. 1 point could be 3,000. 1 point could be 4,000. 1 point, every point for your index, because the index tracks your roof on your house, whether it's a metal or shingle. An index check comes into effect when your bricks on your house. It could be vinyl. It could be wood siding. It could be brick. It could be veneer. It could be your deck on your house. I mean, so once you change your index, it changes all the variables of each home. So just so you know what that index is, then we can get into some examples. I'm going to give on the next page. I put my information on this next page, and I'm just going to use my value, but I'm just going to use the value, the current value that my property is at right now. And then I'm going to use I'm gonna use the city's current millage rate. At the current value, was $155,000. The assessment ratio, which is 10%, that means the assessment ratio right now on my home is $15,579. If I was living in the city, because right now I live in the county, so I'm only paying county and school taxes. But if I was living in the city, because right now the current millage rate is 43.5, I would have gotten a $677 tax bill. If I was living in the city, that's the city's part. Not because people in the city are paying county, school, and city taxes. We'll get to that in a little. bit. But my city tax bill would have been $677. Now, our index next year is going to a 1.15. If you see on the bottom, I put our current index is 1.08. When that index, if that index goes to 1.15, which we know it's going to now, with that same value next year, my value is going to be $189,620. If you look from the first page, that home value, not property taxes, I'm talking home value today. That value from 155 is going up to 189,000. That's going to be the value on my property. If we leave that index the same at 43.5, that means that tax bill that I got last year for $677 is going to be $824. It's going to be $824. What we're talking to you guys about today is just making sure you're ready to do adjustments to your millage rates. We make sure you're ready to do adjustments. Again, I don't control the cities. That's this table right here. I don't control anything. I don't know what you guys have planned for next year. Any plans you got coming up, but if you leave this millage rate the same, then of course you're looking at higher tax bills.
Now, let me say this. The legislature, and I was there, we did the 10% ratio. The state constitution provides, we put it in the constitution, class 1 property, that's residential home property, is assessed at 10%.
10%.
And that is the lowest assessment. Commercial property is assessed at 15%.
Right.
Utility property is assessed at 30%. Automobiles are assessed at 30, but we put in later, and I was a conferee on it, where we did a credit for the tags to reduce that. So,
right. And so that's what I was just saying right here. See, and these prices are what I'm saying on here is only for residential homes. Just like your businesses, that's going to be even higher. For your business, it'll be even higher. So that 43, if you look on this one, if we go to that ratio, that's almost a 20 to 21% increase. If now I said this, I did a presentation for the county because a lot of people still think it's one person that controls people's taxes. But that's why I'm making a presentation. I made a presentation for the county and talked to them, and so I'm telling you guys the same thing, and I'm going before the school board next month to give them the same information because again, June will be here before you know it, and you have to start working on your millage rates. So on this as you can see, I would have an $824 tax bill. That's a 20 to 21% increase. If we were to leave that millage rate the same, that would be a 21% increase. So if you're looking at the total assessed value of the county on last year was $11,663,960. That's an increase of over $2.5 million. If that millage rate was stayed the same. But again, you're taxing the people when you don't have to tax them that much. But again, I don't control budgets for the city school. I don't control budgets. But I'm letting you know what kind of uproar that you may have if those millage rates again.
Well, let me say this. You've got a situation that the reappraisal,
right.
When we did it, put it in the Constitution, the red case had been filed, and they were fixing to have 100% valuation. So
right.
homes would have been 100%, businesses 100%, everybody would have been 100%, and that would have been a deal right there. That would have been bad. Now, the purpose of reappraisal, though, is, like you say, is to assure that if Daniel's property is worth the same as my property, you know, the ultimate purpose, you know, that we get taxed the same, whatever the millage rate is.
Right.
That I don't pay, just cause mine is 5 years old, or 10 years old, or 1 year old, if the value is supposed to be what it goes by on each individual, so it's supposed to even out in a rough term. Now, the state has a millage cap, I mean, a receipt cap. I know, I'm sorry, I've been in Ways and Means for 32 years, but that is provided that you cannot expend money over a certain level, 10% cap over the year before. So there are some guidelines. Go ahead.
And then again, I'll let you guys ask some questions. I'm gonna blow on through this and let you guys ask me any questions you need to. So if you flip over to this last, next to the last page, as you can see the total value, and this is for, I'm just giving some examples of cities. Just say on the total value was $189,620. That means my assessment ratio next year is going to be $18,962. As of right now, because right now the people in the city are paying a total millage rate of $175.12. That's $131.62 for county and school. Then they're paying $43.5 for city. So that would make my ad valorem taxes $3,320.62 minus a $300 homestead, because you have a homestead. So if your value on your home was $189,620, if those millage rates stayed the same as they are today, you would get a tax bill with your homestead of $3,020. So that's why I want to make sure that our city schools and counties are, again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm just giving you, make sure you're ready in June or July when you guys start working on your millage rates to know that home values are going up. That's not property taxes, because the people that control property taxes sit at this table. The people that control the property tax sit at this table for the city, county, and the schools. But we have to, now if you guys have to, if the millage rate have to stay the same, again, that decision is made at this table. But home values are going up. Home values are going up. So just to be frank, if you ran the city last year with $12 million and you got it out of whatever millage you got, if you need the same thing this year, you're going to be able to get it in less meals on next year. But again, you'll be able to get the same thing you got this year in less meals on next year. But again, that decision is made at this table. And so home value is going up. And another problem that we are having is you're supposed to, like he was saying, you're supposed to be within a certain range of what the market is. We're supposed to be between each home and business is supposed to be between 80% to 100% of what the market value is. Even on next year, my value will be going up to $189,000. Well, you have time to come in to argue your value or say, look, my value is this. I think my value on my home is wrong. We're going to open the books for everybody and say, look, you have time to come in and argue your value. In August, you can come and argue value. But to argue your value, you got to have a 2-year recent appraisal that's done in the last 24 months, and you have to bring in a copy of your insurance. And you have to bring a copy of your insurance, what the insurance is valuing your home at. Well, again, my value is going up next year on my home, going up to $189,000. But I'm still going, if I go to Farm Bureau and print out my insurance says my value of my home is $260,000. And the market value is between $290,000 to $300,000. So again, now that's what Farm Bureau has me insured at. They said that's the market value on my home. So even on next year, still only going up to, I'm still not 80%. I'm still not at the 80% that the state wants me at for the value. So so we came today just to talk to you guys and let you know that home values are going up. So again, when you start working on the millage rates, remember that it will have to be adjusted. It will have to be adjusted, because if it stays the same, And you're gonna get a lot of phone calls.
It will, and some, you know, if the amount is not drastically, changed, some may actually, in theory, you know, if they're relatively over, they might, it could work the other way.
Yeah.
So,
So, because again, this is important, a lot of this stuff is important to us, but when the customer, all of this millage rate and all these things doesn't matter to them. They looking at the bottom number in the bottom right-hand corner of that paper. So if they get a tax bill, if they got a tax bill this year for $500, then the next year they get one for $900. That's, you know, again. So again, that stuff, we understand those things, but again, they're looking at that bottom number. So if the tax bill again is this amount, then they get one for 21% more than next year. They're gonna wonder why. So again, of course, they'll call my office and I'll say, look, your millage rate, this is what your millage rate is. This is Tommy on the phone number.
they don't look. I believe everybody in North Mississippi has my cell phone. But I appreciate you
Right.
trying to, you know, carry out your duty, and you don't have any choice. But
There's no choice in it. There's no
the
choice.
law is, the red case, the law is the property must be appraised according to value.
Right.
And some may be higher and some may be relatively lower. So I mean,
And we're not the only county. I mean, this is the largest group of new tax assessors in the state. We have 32 new tax assessors across the state of Mississippi. And this is, most of this is the reason why. Some of them that have their years in, they didn't want to fight for what's about to happen.
Have you read of that Bible verse where it talks about Uriah the Hittite?
Right. But again, Pontotoc County, he just left Pontotoc. They're having this same conversation. It's update year for Lafayette County. I don't know if a lot of you guys probably know Rocky up there, the tax assessor. He's having this same conversation because the millage rate, because everything is going in. So he's having to have this conversation also with his board to let them know values are going up.
Well, the kicker is the homestead is not going up.
Homestead is not going up.
We don't control that, so that's a kicker.
And I do want to say this. I do want to say because a lot of times things can get. Remember, if you're over 65, your home value is going up, but the algorithm on the software will lock your value in to the price that it was this year. But your home value will go up. Just say your home value was, if you were 65, your home value was $80,000, and next year it's going up to 110. Well, your home value is going to go up to 110, but it's still gonna do your value at the $80,000. But that way, the system already have the correct value in it. If you sell the home, or God forbid you leave, and it goes down to a child, then it'll have the correct value in the system. So your value, if you're over 65, and again, this is your homestead property, not property you have over here in Coffeyville, Chillicothe, Scobie. This is not that property. You're over 65, you're locked in up to $75,000 on your homestead property. Any other property you have, of course, that should be at 15% anyway.
So the homeowner gets, because it's in the Constitution, gets the 10% valuation on the home rather than what it would have been if you hadn't put it in the Constitution.
Right.
And so that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. So, but again, to the city, right now you're at 43.5 meals. 43.5 meals. So, I'm just calling out numbers. If you needed $5 million to run the city last year, and you was able to get it with 43.5, if you need $5 million this year, you're probably going to be able to get it with 35 million. So, again, it may just be go ahead, Dan. Dan, you always had good questions, man.
I may have misheard you earlier, but you said total assessed value of the city for 2024 was $11,663,960.
The total assessed value for the city.
The taxable value is probably much higher.
Oh, yeah. Any other questions? You guys can keep those handouts. You guys can keep those handouts.
We appreciate, now, where are you from?
I'm from Winston County.
Not Knox are you?
No, sir, not
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good thing to run over there, pretty good folks, but, so you do, Winston and Tyler?
No, sir, I don't do, I do not want to do my home county. For various reasons. But,
You might need that fire insurance.
right.
But, well, that's good, and thank y'all for,
And most of you at this table have my personal number, the office number. If you guys have any questions, call me.
well, if
Please.
y'all need anything that y'all need from any of us, I know that everyone will be, working, together on this.
Right.
You know, if the city doesn't work with the county, and the county doesn't work with the city, we
It
all
doesn't work.
represent the same
It
people.
doesn't work.
And, it, you know, it's not we all together.
Right. Thank you, board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. All right, next, we've got, the,
We had the fire department codes, but I talked with Mark earlier, and Miss Vivian and his office are working together.
well, they're working to work on that issue.
Right.
And come to us, when y'all get everything, they're working on some, some policies there, and when they get that finished, then they will, come back to us. All right, the next would be, the survey on Maracas Phillips.
Yes, sir. So,
Tell Maracas it's gonna be the third board order. We've supported him. This is the third
Yeah.
board order we've done.
the board may remember that when we went out there for the Delta Grind property, there was determined or discovered, or however you want to put it, that a large slab to the back of the property that is inaccessible, but for the front, anyways, it's in a flood zone. And of course, with this being, we're wanting it to be developed industrial, commercial, etc. It being in a flood zone creates a whole sub-level of problems for any developer, investor, or etc. So what we did in the past was we kept with the 3 acres, we conveyed to them the 3 acres to develop that's outside of the flood zone, that's adjacent to the road, and then that extra acre in the back, well, it's not going to do us any good because it's going to be essentially landlocked by the end of the development. And we also want to be able to continue to tax it, and they can do stuff with it. They just can't essentially use their lenders' dollars to develop it. So we would then convert it from non-taxable property to taxable property by conveying it. And so, for lack of better words, we included it in the conveyance.
That's right. You didn't donate it. You included it. Can't donate it.
Right.
Donatio, but you included it.
Yeah, so we included it in the conveyance for them to develop as they can see fit, but we're doing it in 2 conveyances so that they can secure the financing without the necessity of having to jump through all the hoops of going through the extra levels involved with the flood zone. So with your permission, one, we contracted to convey 3 acres. Again, that 3 acres was surveyed and would include a large swath of flood zone. So to satisfy the contract to the expectation of the parties, but to also meet our financial needs, I would suggest that we amend the contract to include the 3 acres plus the 1 acre in the back. So amend it to be 4.074 acres, and that will convey it to the I&M Properties, which is owned by Maracas Phillips.
Part of the consideration is the creation of jobs in the city of Water Valley and the promotion of business.
And the investment of the development of it was part of the.
Let's note that too.
Yes, sir.
That would be part of the consideration for general approval on that. Is there a motion that this request be carried into an order for the board, or resolution of the board? Is there a motion? There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that is unanimously adopted.
Yeah. Then we have the settlement statement and the other documents. The one expense that we had was a surveyor's expense. I charged $520, and that was what he charged us several years ago when he did the other properties. So if y'all don't mind approving these closing documents for the mayor to execute, I'll have you execute those before we
And
leave.
I'm gonna include that with the motion, and if there's unanimous consent, Daniel, include that with the motion to sign all necessary documents to effectuate the transfer.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? All right, that's done. All right, next, we have, Crystal and Brandon, we have with the electric department. So, let's go ahead and discuss each item. So first, we will do the policy on overhead and underground services. Who's good? Are you, Brandon, you want to be recognized with that? Okay.
Yes,
Go ahead.
this is with Atwell and Gent, they helped us come up with these designs. What we basically do is have them printed out for people that's doing electrical work in town. And this is backed by the National Electric Code as well. It's simply a breakdown of what you're doing, if you're doing something to a house, building a new house, etc., whatever. It's got a breakdown on it. If you want a 200 amp meter base, copper, aluminum, whatever size wire you want to use. Your amperage, you know, it's broke down to the T. And I think it will be a big help to the people in town.
Or is he gonna take an ordinance?
It's a T-total breakdown on services, how to install your temporary
If he's
service.
just changing his.
Building a house and you got a temporary service, it's in black and white here, step by step, everything to do.
Now, Brandon, you're changing the existing,
Well, it's always been on word of mouth.
so you, Daniel, that's
We've
what.
had this approved by TDA, and we want to
Well,
put it in our
so,
policy.
well, I'll tell you what, we need to approve it then.
Right, well, it needs to be approved by board order, but I don't
You
believe
know,
that.
no, an ordinance wouldn't be necessary.
Right.
Okay. We're just trying to get the technical. Okay, I'll go ahead.
But
We just wanted to
anyway,
have approval to add it to our policy.
All right. And, so this is recommended by Atwell and Gent, and it's in compliance. TVA has
TDA approved it.
approved it, and it would, and it's in general terms, the way that y'all recommend it.
yes, sir, this here will cover the city.
And tell us, just in a thumbnail, how that's gonna,
If we
Why, what you do?
implement this to our, you know, for this, if the electric department will adopt this code right here, we implement it out.
everybody will know the regulations and the rules.
That's right, it's in black and white on this thing.
And they are something that are compliable with.
Yes, sir.
And
National Electric
wouldn't,
And we
wouldn't,
can
it-
hand that out to anybody
and
who
it
comes
wouldn't,
in.
and it wouldn't be a big, expense or, other than what we already have. All right, folks, further discussion on this, is there a motion that an order be adopted to add this or to have this as our policy?
I got one question.
The question
Okay.
first.
I think that's real good. I think it's needed. But how is a contractor gonna know that these are the rules that he's gotta follow
We print
before
these.
he builds?
He got it, the contractor, whoever's doing the work has to contact Trey McGee.
Okay.
He's-
That will,
He's the electrical code inspector.
All right, now you need an effective date of this regulation to give people time. What is it?
So in the past, what we've done is when we changed our policy, Crystal may remember this, with the new bill, you give them a notice with the new bill that the policy's changed, so that they then have essentially the 30 days notice of the change to the existing policy. That way, they can't say that they didn't have notice because they got it with their bill.
Right.
That's what we've done in the past.
Okay, and so,
And everybody gets that. So
Everyone
not
gets
everybody
it.
takes the paper, but everybody gets a
do
bill.
we need an effective date of it, of the change? Probably you do. don't you?
Yeah, if we adopted it today, then not this month, but next month, so July 1.
Okay. July, effective date.
Yeah, yeah.
I make a motion.
Motion and
Second.
a second. Discussion. All in favor will say aye.
Ah,
And that is adopted unanimously. And next, let's move to the 1992 bucket truck.
All right, I got a 1992 bucket truck sitting at the chicken plant. We kinda somewhat replaced it last year. Truck still runs, and I know that the county sometimes hires people to cut trees or whatnot, what have you. Well, they're willing to spend a little money on it, get the truck back operable and use it, and I have no problem whatsoever passing it down to them. And if we need to get it back for whatever reason at any time, we'll be able to get it back. The county basically gonna take it and maintain it.
You got a motion?
I'd much rather see somebody get it. What I'm saying is, we put an engine in it in 2012, we spent what, 32,000 on
We
it?
just spent like 11,000 on
Convey,
it
one
recently.
government can convey to another
But the,
government.
Upon
but the
mutually
boom still
agreeable
has to
Upon
have a
mutually
lot of
agreeable terms.
work done, we can't put a man in it.
We haven't, to my
It runs
understanding,
with
we
the-
haven't received title yet to a police car that we received from the county. So I was wondering if we couldn't just reflect that we were trading one for the other.
You can.
So I don't handle the clerical for the record, I can get the motions and things, so I was trying to keep my mouth shut. Brandon had asked me to be here, that's why I was here tonight, to convey what.
Well, Casey, we're glad you're here. The case
Well,
is a
I appreciate
resource.
what all you guys do, ladies too, because we sit at the board at the county and there's a lot of work that goes on. The general public doesn't always fully understand, and there's a lot of department heads in here that make this place work and operate, and I very much appreciate everyone at that table and the department heads that make this community work. So Brandon had reached out to me and shared with me that the situation he had with the bucket truck, and I told him we do hire out people to help us with limbs that are unsafe for us to drop the tree, and usually we hire, and I paid as much as $4,500 to get big, large trees dropped, to get trees down out of the road. I have people that are very capable of doing that, but we don't have a means to get up in that height, and it's unsafe, so.
Well, let me say this, if we don't, we need help from the county, and if they need help from us, we're all joined at the hip. Would you not agree?
Absolutely.
Y'all are our brothers and sisters.
We're on the USS Yellowbushy and Water Valley, Oakland, and Tullatoga,
We
Silverado.
can't do it alone. That industrial park out there is together. Everything we've got's together.
We're in the ocean together, for sure. So I told Brandon I came to say we'll do whatever we need to do to make it work as long as it's satisfactory to this board and the department heads. So if there's a vehicle that has not had a title conveyed to it, I'll be more than happy to reach out to, I presume Miss Vicki Vance is our purchasing clerk and handles most of that. Or
Well,
Miss
and
Commissioner.
we can do that by treaty of local governments that are in this state. We have that statutory authority.
That's right.
I've done it a lot of times, and that'll work.
But we'll be happy to do whatever is recommended by this board to accommodate whatever needs
So
to happen.
do y'all have the general gist of what would happen? All right, and is there a motion that this conveyance be authorized according to the terms that Daniel has laid out?
Make that motion.
Motion is there second? Well, motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
All right, next, write-offs. Kristen?
Vivian has those. We write the bad debt off every 3 months, but we don't actually write it off. We just have to take it off of our current books.
Yeah, I think,
and
yeah,
move it.
you cannot make a donation, so you can't wipe it off because of the state constitution, but you can put it in a more inactive.
Right. It's
It's
just in a
simply for
bad,
accounting
it's
purposes,
in a bad
you
debt
have to take it
file.
off of.
Yeah,
your
that,
expected
you're
to
putting
receive.
it in bad debt's what you're actually doing.
It's $2,232.78, and that's from October through December.
All right, is there a motion? Second. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Bridget,
And, Vivian, the next item will be on emergency pay, and there has been, an issue, Crystal, and, if you wanna come forward on this, there has been an issue, and, Crystal, myself, and I think Vivian and others, there has been, and Daniel, and, there has been a desire to encourage and properly show appreciation for those that are on call, that provide emergency services on electric, and it would include water as well. You know, there are other departments that get, well, there are ways that they are recognized. And these particular ones, you know, they can be called out at, for example, they're really good to get called out on New Year's Eve or Christmas, you know, and things of that nature, and have to take breaks in their Saturdays or something like this. This is a proposed policy that is on emergency work that is carried out in other municipalities, many other municipalities. Not all. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but it is carried out in other municipalities and involving on those that do emergency work. And if you want to share that the proposal, and Daniel, Crystal, you go forward if you would.
Basically, this would be for unscheduled work. So the power goes out and these guys have to get out on their Saturday morning and go work, but they have taken a vacation day the day before. And so they would get straight time instead of time and a half. This would basically make them just get time and a half for that instead of straight time. We had a copy of policy from a couple of other municipalities. So we wrote this up. Unscheduled emergency work other than regular hours worked will be paid at an overtime hourly rate on the basis of 40 hours within the work week. Leave would be considered hours worked in this scenario where unscheduled emergency work is performed. Employees would receive overtime pay for that unscheduled emergency work. And we would like to put a 2-hour minimum when they're called out for unscheduled emergency calls, you know, because they may be busy at home, you know, or wherever. Unscheduled emergency work is defined as that work other than regular hours, which is not scheduled and involves a quantified emergency, such as a man-made or natural disaster or incident that is deemed a major safety concern to citizens, employees, or property. This labor type must be authorized and prescribed by the department head. So they're probably not going to go to work if it's not an emergency on the weekend or on Christmas or something. So if a tree falls and knocks someone's power out, that's an emergency. If a water main breaks on Main Street, that's an emergency. Something like that.
This would not be a drain on your budget.
It's not going to be a
as
huge
much as-
expense. I did some research for a 12-month period of time from last October and October 23 through September 24, and it would have cost my department, including the fringes, less than $2,500 for the year for everybody. So it's not a huge drain on our budget, but you know, it would really help the guys.
Well, you're thinking about, you want to retain people, and you're thinking about people on Saturday morning or Sunday, and they're, you know, that's when these things hit.
And every Christmas, I don't know why.
Christmas,
Every Christmas
well,
they have to
there's
go.
power demand and New Year's and all that, and so, you know, it's just, the thought was to maybe try to be in line with our other municipals.
And not every municipal does this, but more and more are doing it. They're starting to pick it up because, you know, a reason to stay. You know,
They're
just
having
give them a
to do
little
that
more.
to keep up with the.
Yeah, to keep up because.
Keep dependable people there, keep them from going to contract cruises.
Or even co-ops, because of course municipals can't quite afford to pay the salaries that other people can.
No, and we do have the state retirement is.
That's right.
Is a benefit that we have, and so, well, now, is there discussion on this?
It still contains the street department as well too, we have to come out on the emergency trees down in the middle of the night and stuff.
I don't know why it wouldn't. I don't know
We
why
got
it
to clear
wouldn't.
the street, the tree falls, the police department calls, and roadblock, somebody.
Well,
come
I
out and
think,
clear
I
it.
think if it, I think within reason we can do it,
It
and we
would be in
can't.
handbook. for the
It'll, we'll,
of what
yeah,
legal
I would think
electric
that,
department
that could
policy.
work.
Yeah, we're talking about
Yes,
adding
we're
this to
talking
the
about
handbook.
everybody.
Okay.
That's right, it's gonna be in the handbook, so it's
And Miss
sauce for
Vivian
one to be
gets called
sauce
in
for
at
another.
midnight, she's gonna get time of day.
You better believe it.
Now, if the lights
Can
on,
wake up.
if the lights on at 10 o'clock at night, no.
8 o'clock.
No, she is
Michael, wake
keep
up.
this thing rolling. All right, so I think we've got,
Yes.
is there a
We wanna put it
motion?
in the handbook.
There's a motion, there's a motion to be adopted, is there a second? All right, is there discussion? All in favor will raise a hand. All opposed? Well, ain't anybody raising it, it passes. So, we get that done. Next, we have, Jason, there are bids for the Camry. Well,
This is only surplus, I think, I don't know if it was last month or the month before.
and it was properly
Yeah,
advertised
it was
for.
posted, it's got a bad motor and.
I introduced that bill to allow posting, I hope I did the right thing.
Lee
Cost
Clark
it more than
bids
advertising in the
$250.
That's not what the car's worth in scrap yards. So that's about an even trade.
It's all a bid.
Well, it's in motion. All right, second. All in favor, say aye. All right, so that's done. Okay, Michael Scroggins. Michael.
Catch up.
And we gotta get, now look, we're gonna get the Neary's on here. They've been diligently waiting. Michael, come on. Well, you would, there you go.
It's fine.
I can't deny what we took last year.
Go ahead.
You do everything.
Last year, I brought a proposal to purchase a lawnmower for the cemetery, but due to everything, we stretched the others out and didn't purchase that last mower. So this year, we're gonna have to, because I had one to go down. I've got a couple quotes, basically $300 different roughly between Four Seasons and, Big Delta Honda.
You going with the lowest?
Going with the lowest is 13.5.
You need that urgently, don't you?
Need it for this year?
The grass is growing. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'm going Four Seasons.
Is there a motion? Motion? Is there a motion and second? Is it discussion? All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
That's passed. You can, now you and the financing of it, do you have
It was the city clerk, we still,
We'll see what we got there.
We'll,
I know they have a lot of them, but I will look at it.
if we need to meet on that,
Okay.
we need a special meeting, we'll attend to that.
All right, the other one, I'm coming to ask, the little excavator that we have, that we do a lot of ditch work and everything with, it's got a home-made bucket, but it's really so hard to clean some of these ditching stuff out, and we're wanting to buy a ditching bucket. Now, 2 years ago, we came back and we bought a bucket for it to do grade work these vaults and stuff, because the bucket we have on it is 2 foot and you have to move back and forth for it, and it's done great. Now what I'm trying to do is get a ditching bucket that you can clean ditches out with. We use this machine quite a bit out here on the street as well as where it's supposed to be a cemetery, but a lot of times we need it here and there because we can't get a backhoe in it. But we made a homemade deal, but if we could get this other one, it'd make it a lot easier on us.
Well, we have to,
For that, we don't
we don't have quotes or anything, right?
Yeah, I have two quotes.
You gotta have two, yeah.
I have two of them.
How much is the, how much are
One of them is in 2,700, and the other one is 4,045.
All right, you're recommending the lowest.
Lowest one, and that's the one that we buy all of our the parts and stuff from, that fits the machine.
Motion?
Motion, make the
Second. All right, discussion? All in favor say aye. There are no no's.
All right, there's one other thing that I want to bring up. I've talked with a couple already about it. I have a 2006 garbage truck. I want to take it out of the line. We've had some problem with it, blow the whole line and stuff on it, carried it to the shop. They worked the oil line, did some other lines that found another problem trying to get the motor to run and everything. We up a few $1,000s on it or what, but the other problem that's come up was the wire harness on the machine, on the truck is all shot. Wire harness for this truck is $5,000.
Ooh.
I personally do not see us putting, we've got some problem with the garbage unit on the back of the truck. It's gonna have to spend a couple thousand more to try and get it worked on. I would like to take this truck out of the fleet.
You're gonna declare it surplus?
Declare it surplus,
Offer
get
it
rid
for
of it.
sale? All right, and,
We have the new truck, we have
is there a motion that this truck be declared surplus and be, offered for sale in the manner authorized by law? There is such a motion, and the clerk and the city attorney will help for the necessary resolution. Is there, and there was a motion and second, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and that is passed.
All right.
Now, let's recognize the Nearys. You stay up there. Y'all come on up, or just stand up if you want. That'd be the, stand up.
Stand up we can do.
Well, there is, there has been a lot of, I think, how many times has your mailbox been run over?
7. In the last 7 or 8
Yeah,
months.
and we pleaded to have it on your side of the road.
Yes,
but
sir.
the
Beg.
Post office has, they didn't listen to the United States senators. So, I mean, what can you say? I mean, maybe they will one day, but they're not right now. But the Nearys and others similarly situated have tried to, crossing the street. And you don't want to play whack-a-mole with your citizens, and it is, the speed situation. There has been, the signs are there, which is, but the thought is that a speed bump in that area, and I believe Michael has been
Put 2 of them up here
working
this
on
morning,
that.
trying to see if this is gonna work real well. If not, we got another option I wanna go with.
Right.
Jason and I both had talked about it, he said, see what you can do.
And I wanted the board to be informed of this, and if there was objection to it, then you could let them know. But just as a general method of traffic control, I know, well, for example, Charleston Middle School has 2 of them. When they work, when you've gone over that, and they've been there for years, and so, you have a right to be safe.
What's this address?
Is there any objection to this, what they're working on now, these speed bumps? And I should give you all a chance to express yourself.
Well, first we have to express our appreciation for everything that has been done. Absolutely. Everything has been done. Michael has been firsthand. When I had a question, I could call him. He's been over there. He's taking care of it. Now we put the speed bumps in this morning, which we were gone most of the day in Oxford. So what I had seen first thing this morning at 9 o'clock was people had slowed down. This surprised a few people, you know, because
Well, this is not the use of hazard.
no, sir, it's not. It's not. And some people think it is. It's a very narrow street. You know, I was gonna measure it, but I didn't get a chance because I didn't get home till
Are you
6
going for the
o'clock.
Guinness record about how many times your
7, yes,
mailbox
sir.
is?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we're,
Yes, sir.
I think that's all we need, but.
You know, you know, like, now I put a pole up there next to the mailbox, you know, with a red light on it. You know, Michael has sure seen it today, you know. You know, it cost me $2, down at the hardware store. And, just to try to deter people, like, maybe you can't see my mailbox or what? Am I invisible here or what? You know, what's going on? So, we surely appreciate the cooperation that the city has done, and Michael firsthand, everything he has done for us. The speed bumps today, is definitely, we talked about this some months ago, you know, and we tried the signs, and it's like I said then, people have to read the signs in order for them to really work, you know? And unfortunately, that doesn't happen, you know, 'cause
Jim is not really Italian.
that
It just
hasn't,
looks that way.
hasn't been a deterrent at all, you know? So the speed bumps, on the other hand, have. So I applaud the city for the only attention we have gotten over the last year. We've been here a year, and we look forward to the future.
Well, I want you to be here many more years.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
I did notice this morning when we were backing out of the driveway, I said, oh, there's a couple of cars coming down there actually at the speed limit. And then this evening, we were backing out, and I'm used to just backing out, looking two ways, and either stopping dead or going. But there was a car coming, and I could see it coming. So I backed out the driveway and stopped, and he went on past, and it was so nice not to have to get out there and hit the gas to get out of the way of something that might be coming down the street.
We still gotta put some signs up. I have, legal wise, have to put some speed bumps ahead.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And this sets up, give it a few days, and we're probably gonna come back and I'm gonna paint those. Instead of you having just an orange mailbox in the neighborhood, we're gonna end up painting a yellow
line
across the bump.
Yeah,
So
no, I
people
think
kinda have
that's
to notice
good.
what
And
they're
the orange mailbox isn't ours, you know. It's not ours.
Well, we appreciate y'all being with us, and your neighbors too, and your other, and there's a lot of people on that, in that little area you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
So,
You know, there's a house a little closer to Central.
Put some on Ashby Street. We need some up there too.
well, we'll get talking about that, and I appreciate you being here. He's a good man.
Put down there.
He's a good man.
Give me time.
One step at a time.
Good job. They come down there like a race.
Well, I'll tell you what, y'all give you requests, and then we'll look at that.
We
And
appreciate everything you do.
appreciate y'all being here, and y'all are good folks.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
and that, we're blessed with good folks in this town.
I got you.
Now, and well, we get started. This is the first out of the chute. So you know, hopefully it'll work and be a incentive to make things work.
We appreciate it.
Now, let's move on to we have we are asking that a bid package be approved for advertising for the road into the industrial park. We've gotten grants. The legislature, when I was there, we gave some money for that, and the city gave money, and the county gave money. There again, working together. And the federal government, the TVA, has given money, and others have given money. Now, this is what we've got. We have received the permit. This is from Kagan, the head of the, to proceed with the Highway 7 connection from the Industrial Park project. Willis Engineering is working to finalize the design documents for the new road and work in the park in the next week. as soon as TVA provides their environmental clearance, expected mid-April, we'd be ready to advertise for bids. They want us to advertise this package as soon as it is available to us, and so we'd need a motion, second, and a favorable vote to authorize this. Motion second is made, and what we want to do is get this thing, you know, we're in competition with everybody else in the world, and this will put us a leg up, you know, and this is way over $1 million project. So, you know, whatever Dirks has said, $1 million here, $1 million there, and soon you're talking about big money. So anyway, but it is, so motion and second has been made. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, that is passed. And now, all right, there is a request to enter executive session. Of course, when we go into executive session, it has to be for one of the 13 allocated reasons. I believe that's 13, or that may be grounds for divorce now, I don't know. But at any rate, it's the same thing, basically the same number. I don't really like divorces, but at any rate,
That's pretty good.
it is, it's the same thing. You know, it's easy to remember, isn't it? Law school exam. There is a request to go into executive session for a personnel and possible litigation request of the police department. Well, I tell you what, we have a motion for closed determination on the issue of going into executive session. That motion is made and second, if y'all don't mind that.
That's right.
All right, and next, and the vote, and what, we need to get the exact time.
Got it, I got it right here.
All right, and so, the motion now, if you want to go into executive session, would be for personnel and potential litigation involving a personnel action on a named individual that's on the agenda. That is motion and second. All in favor will raise their hand, because this is executive session. I'm going to rule that it was all present voted aye, and so we are now in executive session on this personnel matter.
As a hometown bank, BankFirst is proud to offer top-notch banking products with perks that support local businesses and people who support their communities. We believe our towns, no matter the size, deserve the best products and the best customer service, an experience we all deserve. We're hometown banking at its best. Do you bank with us? You should.